AC certificate, the EFCC certificate, and the United Kingdom certificate. We've registered the companies in England and Wales. Okay, so you can see the certificate. If you want to get this, you can get the slide. If you have the slide, you will see all of these in the slide. Now, having said all of this, we quickly want to look at that uniqueness of SWIFTtrip, that thing that makes SWIFTtrip stand out from every other company out there. Knowing that the services we are rendering are not a new service, and not services that has never been heard of, and not services that we will have to crack our brain to know how it will work. No, they are services that are already in existence, and we have giants that are already in this business line. So what is that thing that will make Mr. A patronize us and not the other company that is rendering the same service? And it is no other than the PYC. The PYC, we stand for Pay Your Customers. Yes, it's strange to those of us that are joining us for the very first time. Pay your customers. It is something that has never happened before. And we will be the first company globally to put our customers on payroll. That whenever they patronize the company, they earn from that patronage. Has it happened before? No. What we are used to is what? KYC. Know your customers. And we are saying it is not enough for you to know your customers. These customers should be put on payroll, because knowing them is not enough. Put them on payroll, that whenever they patronize the company, they simply earn from that patronage. It does not matter how many times they patronize the company. So long they are patronizing the company, they are earning from that patronage. If you can pay your workers, then you should get ready to pay your customers that are patronizing you. And we'll say companies out there that are looking at it, that they won't want to implement the PYC, that they just want to do the KYC. All I can say is sorry, because you will lose your customers to those companies that are paying their customers. Yes. You will lose your customers to other companies that are dealing with the PYC. Now let's quickly look at how this PYC will work. And since we haven't launched business, and we are still at the vision stage, the best you can do now is to borrow me your imagination, is for you to imagine with me that we've launched business. And after the launch of business, a transaction happens in Nigeria. And this transaction, let's assume this transaction cost 10,000 naira or 8,000 naira. And I believe you know that trips is not fixed. The trip price is not fixed. It is depending on the distance covered that it will be charged. It will be charged based on the distance covered. So in this imagination now, let's just use 8,000 naira as a case study. And that 8,000 naira that is paid, it is considered as 100%. Now let's look at how this 8,000 naira, this 100% will be shared to every person for just one trip that happens, okay? Now, we say 10% goes to the platform provider. And you want to ask, who is the platform provider? And why are we the platform provider? Because we've provided a platform that each other. What's the platform? It's the app. We've made a platform that connects a driver and a passenger. A platform that connects a seller and a buyer. So that the 10% that goes to the platform is used for global expansion. And we keep saying it, that there is no time the CEO will call anyone after the launch of business to say, Mr. A, Mr. B, please let all shareholders bring 10 million naira or 5 million naira as the case may be, for the launch of business in so and so country. No. This 10% is for global expansion. It is this money is what will be used to launch business in other countries of the world. So 10% goes to the company. How many percent do we have left from that 100%? We have 90% left, right? Yes. Now, from that 90% that is left, 5% is shared to the shareholders of SWIFTtrip, to the co-owners of this business, to the pioneers, the subscribers of this business, which is you and I. Now, 10% plus 5% is how many percent? 15%. We have 85% left. What happens to the 85%? 80% of that 85% that is left goes to the driver. Oh my God, this is the lion's share of the percentage. It goes to the driver, whom we call the service provider. We call the drivers the service provider because they're the one providing. Of that passenger that booked that ride gets 1%, earns 1% of that transaction. The second generator plus 1%, that is 1.5% from the customer's side. Now the same thing goes to the customer's driver's referral. First generation 1%, second generation 0.3%, third generation 0.1%, fourth generation 0.1%, add it up 1.5%. Now 1.5 plus 1.5 is 3%. 3% plus 97% is a total of what? 100%. So you can see how everybody earns in SWIFTtrip. That is why we are telling you, do not miss SWIFTtrip. Don't miss SWIFTtrip. This person now that earned this 2% now might just be an ordinary customer who is not a shareholder. But whenever they patronize the company, they earn from that patronage. Okay? Now, this analysis I did now is for the e-taxi, but do not forget the same thing goes for all of our services such as the aviation, the e-commerce, the logistics, and the hospitality business. Okay? So, that's that. I want to quickly look at the brain behind SWIFTtrip. Who is the CEO? He is no other person than our own handsome lion and person of Honorable Richard Nnadi from Nigeria. He is the CEO and the founder of this business. He is the CEO and the founder of SWIFTtrip. You can see that he is a Nigerian, full-fledged Nigerian man, both Nigeria. This is our own. So we are calling you. He is calling you to come. Let's collaborate and build this thing, knowing that collaboration is the new currency. Is the new form of currency. Let's collaborate and build this thing. Support your own. Let's support our own. And we'll be proud we did. We're praying for God's wisdom upon His Son, Honorable Richard Nnadi. Thank you very much, sir, for all you do for SWIFTtrip. Now, quickly, I want to look at how we've talked about what SWIFTtrip is, the services we are rendering, where we are now at the vision stage, and also how a non-shareholder, which is a customer, will benefit. So lastly, we want to look at how you profit as a subscriber, how you profit as a pioneer, how you profit as a co-owner of this business. I want to look at per trip profit evaluation, per trip, one single trip. And to this, we want to use 8,000 naira and 8,000 naira and $10. So we want to imagine that a trip costs what? 8,000 naira in Nigeria. And another trip costs $10 in Europe, okay, outside country. We want to look at what you will earn from this 8,000 naira trip that happens in Nigeria as a shareholder of this business, as a co-owner of this business, and also what you will earn if a trip costs $10 in Nigeria. I mean, in let's say outside country. the USA. Okay, so how do we get that? How do we calculate that? It's very simple. All you just have to do is to multiply the amount it costs, the amount the trip costs, by your volume of shares. Remember I said if you're coming into $180, you're owning 0.05 places 125%. That is your ownership percentage. That is what you're paying that $180 for. Okay, so we'll simply do 8,000 naira multiplied by your ownership percentage. If you do that, you will get 0.0 in 3 places 1 kobo. That is what you will get. And if you do $10 multiplied by your ownership percentage, you will get 0.0 in 6 places 125 cents. That is what you will get. And I can tell you that this is not small, because someone is already asking him or herself that how can I come into $180 and I'm earning 0.0 in 3 places 1 kobo? How long will it take for me to earn something tangible? In a blink. In a blink. That is why you are owning a system that will pay you forever. That is the power of owning a system. Imagine if this is what you get paid for your labor. For your labor. Maybe you go out there and after everything you did for that day, you are paid 0.0 in 3 places 1 kobo. It won't make sense. What can you buy with this? Nothing. So that is why owning a system is very powerful. Owning a system that pays you without your effort is very powerful. With or without your effort is very powerful. Now, this, in case you're saying this is small, it is not small, because if you own a system, it is now left for you to understand the power of volume. The power of volume. Once this thing begins to turn over, you will know that this 0.0 in 3 places 1 kobo or 0.0 in 6 places 125 cents is not small. It's big. It's massive. And we will quickly show you how this cent, how this kobo can become millions, billions, and trillions of dollars. Millions, billions, and trillions of dollars. Remember, we said SWIFTtrip is going to make you a trillionaire in dollars. Now, let's quickly look at, we've talked about per day analysis. We want to quickly look at 5 years from now after the launch of business. Let's assume it takes 5 years for us to launch business. Let's assume 5 years after the launch of business. That's what we want to quickly look at now. And we are saying after the launch of business in 5 years, the trip that has been performed is 50 trillion trip for a worst case scenario. Why am we saying worst case scenario? Because we are so sure that 5 years when business is running, 5 years after the launch of business, we must have performed millions of trillions of trips. Yes. But then we want to do tens of trillions of trips. That's why we're saying 50 trillion trips performed globally. Performed like we are accumulating all the trips performed in the space of 5 years, and it's giving us 50 trillion trip for a worst case scenario. And we are also looking at all of these 50 trillion trips that happens in the space of 5 years to cost 8,000 naira, which you and I know that it's not possible for all the trip performed in 5 years to cost 8,000 naira or $10. It is not possible. That is why we are saying a worst case scenario. But we just have to stick to one figure so that we can get better calculation. Okay, so what do? We simply do 0.0 in 3 places 1 kobo. Do we still remember how we got it? We got it from per trip transaction, what we calculated before now. Per transaction, we use the same figure, $10 and $8, sorry, and 8,000 naira. So when we did that calculation per trip, it gave us 0.0 in 6 places 125 cents and 0.0 in 3 places 1 kobo. See, since that's for per trip, we simply do the same thing, 0.0 in 3 places multiplied by 50 trillion trip. 50 trillion is 50 and 12 zeros, or 5 and 13 zeros. If you do that, 0.0 in 3 places 1 kobo multiplied by 50 trillion trips, you will get 5 billion naira. That is to show you the power of volume. That is to tell you the power of volume. This was the same person I showed 0.0 in 3 places 1 kobo. But because of the turnover, the power of volume, all of this trip happening, you can see that it has amounted, it has increased to 5 billion naira. Now, if you're doing that of the $10, you simply do 0.0 in 6,125 cents multiplied by 50 trillion trip. What will it give you? It will give us $6.25 million. $6.25 million. Isn't that amazing? It is. This was the same person that I showed 0.0 in 6,125 cents for 1 trip. But because of the power of volume, look at how it has accumulated to $6.25 million for a worst case scenario. And just from one service. I've not talked about the aviation. I've not talked about the logistics. I've not talked about the e-commerce. I've not talked about the hospitality. This is just e-taxi. But look at the turnover. This is amazing. This is amazing. And we are not saying you will have to wait for 5 years before you launch, before you withdraw your money. No. You can withdraw your money anytime, any day. That is why we say this is decentralized. You don't need the permission of anybody to withdraw your money. If it's 0.0 in 3 places 1 kobo you want to withdraw, fine. If it can do anything for you, withdraw. Don't miss SWIFTtrip, because it's definitely going to make you a trillionaire. Look at how your subscription has yielded for you. Your subscription of $180 has yielded for you 5 billion naira, or $6.25 million. SWIFTtrip will make you a trillionaire in dollars. After hearing all of this, you will still let someone else's opinion to talk you, and you let someone to talk you out of SWIFTtrip. That is not fair. That is not fair. Don't let someone talk you out of a life-changing opportunity. And in SWIFTtrip, we don't convince you. The best we can do is what we've done. We've shown it to you. It is now left for you to decide for yourself. Decide for yourself. Don't miss SWIFTtrip. And this other slide asks, what will be my role as a subscriber in the movement of... What will be my role as a subscriber in the movement leading to the launch of SWIFTtrip? And all we can say is become an active campaigner, NB, from SWIFTtrip Campaign Pool Fund. From SWIFTtrip Campaign Pool Fund. And we say subscriber sponsorship plan, your profit share slot, which we consider as the node slot. And from the campaign sponsorship fund is what, like I made mention of earlier, the campaign sponsorship fund is $80. $80. Now, what is that? How much are we to spend in this campaign that you yourself have the opportunity to benefit from? Because everyone have the opportunity to benefit from this campaign we are talking about. How much are we looking at spending for this campaign as at now? 191,200,000 $191,200,000. How much are you willing? How many $1 million are you willing to get from this campaign we are talking about? How many million, how many billion you're willing to take from this? 1 billion? Name it. 2 million? Just name it. The ball is in your court. It's your decision to make. Don't miss SWIFTtrip. Don't miss SWIFTtrip for any reason. And we tell you that SWIFTtrip campaign pays. How you earn as a campaigner from SWIFTtrip campaign sponsorship pool fund. And we tell you, if you introduce a shareholder in SWIFTtrip and the person registers with $180, the person registers with $180, the company pays you $50. Remember, what we are sharing is what? $80. And if we sum everything up together, is $191,200,000. So $50 for first generation, and $15 for second generation, $10 for third generation, and $5 for fourth generation. Because I told you earlier on, in SWIFTtrip you earn up to your fourth generation, just like I showed you the passengers referral chain and also the drivers referral chain. So if you introduce someone, the company appreciates you with $50. If that person introduces someone else, he will earn $50 while you will earn $15. So just like that, up to the fourth generation, which is $10 and $5 respectively for third and fourth generation. Now in the same, there's still an earning in SWIFTtrip. We call the SWIFTtrip campaign cash award. If you are able to activate 50 persons directly under you, you're considered SWIFTtrip runner, and the company appreciates you with extra $50. Okay, and if you are able to talk to more persons and you are able to register 500 persons directly under you, first generation, you're considered SWIFTtrip icon, and the company appreciates you with $1,000. If you are able to register more persons and you got 5,000 persons, you're considered the face of SWIFTtrip, and the company appreciates you with $10,000. So you can see that you can earn massively now that we are at the vision stage. The decision is just for you to make, okay, to know if you want to earn now or not. So we say do not miss SWIFTtrip profit share offer, okay. And if you want to make your payment, all you have to do is to send your money to the company's account, which is SWIFTIFY Technologies LTD FCMB, to either the Nigerian account or the USD account, the pounds account, the euro account, okay. And once you've made your payments to either of these accounts, send your proof of payment, which is very important. Please, your proof of payment is very important. Send it to your sponsor, also with your name, your full name, okay, your full name, your phone number, and your email. These are the details needed for your sponsor to register you. Who is your sponsor? Your sponsor is that person that told you about SWIFTtrip, that person that shared the link to you, okay. That person is your sponsor. So once you send those details to your sponsor will then contact the admin of the state for Nnadi, which he or she will use for your registration, okay. And we are begging, please, if you're making your payment, don't make payment to an individual account. Please make payment to the company's account so you don't regret, okay. Because we have cases whereby some person said I made payment to so and so account, which we found out that it's not to the company's account, and they will complain that they've not been registered, and we just found out that they've just been scammed. So that's why we are sounding it to everyone. Please make sure if you're making your payments, make your payment to the company's account. And if there's no hub admin in your state, you can chat the company's admin 08036695332. Okay, so that's the company's admin. And the last slide says ticket booking for every Saturday event, okay. This is for our event on Saturday. All you just have to do is to send your name so that your tickets can be booked, send your name to this number 090-3211-9017, or you send your number or you send your name to 081-366-79305. So invite your people and then invite them to the what's it called, to the seminar on Saturday. Please don't forget to also book your name or book for yourself, because so many persons forget to book for themselves after booking for their friends. Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's presentation, and we want to say a very big thank you to every one of us that has stayed till the very end of this meeting. We love you all. We say welcome. Thank you very much. Okay, so we are all happy to have every one of us. We appreciate the CEO for this privilege. Thank you very much, sir. And it's time for question. And if you want to ask your question, all you simply need to do is to click on the middle button, and the privilege will be given to you to speak. Click on the middle button. The privilege will be given to you to speak. And while we are waiting for hands to be raised, I will want to introduce the hub admin of SWIFTtrip worldwide. Okay, so if you can see my screen, we have Mr. Chukwuemeka. Mr. Chukwuemeka, the hub admin of SWIFTtrip in Abakaliki. Okay, the hub admin of SWIFTtrip in Abakaliki. So if you're in Abakaliki, please do well to connect with Mr. Chukwuemeka. Okay, so okay, let me just expand this. All right, we also have Madam Christy Ngozi Akpabio, the first hub admin of SWIFTtrip in Lagos State. Thank you, Ambassador Christy Ngozi, for all you do for SWIFTtrip. We appreciate you and your effort. Thank you very much, Mommy, for all you do for SWIFTtrip. So if you're in Lagos, please do well to connect with Madam Christy Akpabio. Then we have Dr. Nnadi, the second hub admin of SWIFTtrip in Abakaliki. So if you're in Abakaliki, please do well to connect with Dr. Nnadi, Ambassador Dr. Nnadi. Thank you very much, Daddy, for all you do for SWIFTtrip. We appreciate you. Thank you very much, sir. Then we have, who else is in the house? Who else do we have in the house? We have Mr. Shedrack. Mr. Shedrack, the hub admin of SWIFTtrip in Abuja. Ambassador Shedrack,